like to invite to the stage Lonnie Langton. Lonnie is Director of Business Development at Action Coach, and she's going to give us our inspirational moment. Lonnie?
Thank you. Thank you, President Jim. My Rotary inspiration is actually Rotarians themselves. This club inspires me to do more and be more in my community. And of all the things, all of you guys have become a great part of my life. Ski trips, Rotary Connects, fellowships, and of course all the volunteering, the mentoring of children, fundraisers, and so much more. Regardless of our past, regardless of our unique backgrounds and diversity, we come together as one club. So thank you.
Thank you, Lonnie. We have a big program together, so at this time, please enjoy your lunch and fellowship. We'll be back soon. Nancy Austin sitting in again for Christy Schaefer. Nancy is a broker associate at Porchlight Real Estate Group, and she's going to give our secretary's report.
Good morning. It's not raining outside. Isn't that great? So welcome to Rotary. To begin the introductions, I would like to call Nell Rolleveld from the Netherlands to come up. We're going to exchange flags. And I understand that where Nell is from is very close to Rotterdam, near the Germany border, but I cannot begin to pronounce the name of her club. So I'm going to ask that she take care of that for me.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Nice to have you.
Thank you. So the name of my club is Nijmegen Stad en Land, which means Nijmegen is the city close to Germany, and Stad en Land means city and countryside. So we are sort of a club with members from surrounding the city. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We have a prospective new member. Priscilla Lacerno is a guest of Charlie Miller and Bob Heiserman. Priscilla is with Wells Fargo, has been for 29 years, and she's been transferred from Pueblo to Denver. Lucky girl. We're glad to have you here. Pueblo's good, but Denver's better. Yeah. Welcome. Howard Cass brought quite a few guests. He has his son, Peter, his other son, David, his daughter-in-law, Dolly, and his wife, Rose. Could you please stand? Welcome. Jim Goddard brought a guest, Ann Irving. Ann, would you stand? Thank you. Welcome. And once again, we have Debbie Beasley's here again, and she is a new member, and I think it's all going to be official pretty soon. So we're glad you're back, Debbie. Hang in there. I have a few announcements. Our 50% reduction in initiation fee for all new members is continuing and will be honored on all applications received by the Rotary office before June the 30th. And it's not too late for you to make your donations to the foundations before the end of the Rotary fiscal year, which is June the 30th. You can contact the Rotary office and ask for any assistance, or you can do an online donation. Peaches are coming on August the 8th. Look for your online order next week. Just a reminder that there is no club meeting on July the 2nd. We want you to mark your calendar for celebration on the rooftop. It's Thursday, July the 9th here at the DAC. The event is going to celebrate the past year, kick off the new year with an alternative to our regular lunch format for that day. So be looking for your event registration tomorrow. The Rotary Connect Happy Hour is going to take place at Hacienda again, Colorado, on June the 23rd. As I said last week, it's being sponsored by Brian Geis with Centennial Leasing and Sales, and he's going to provide us some appetizers. Thank you, Brian. We want you to save the date. This is very important. Save the date for Denver Rotary's second annual golf fellowship at Pinehurst Country Club, Monday, August the 17th. See Young Cho for more details and look for a sign-up in future email blast and the Keyway. That will be a fun event. Wish I knew how to play golf. Thanks so much for being with us, and enjoy your day.
Thank you, Nancy. And at this time, I'd like to invite Howard Cass to the stage. And Rose, would you like to come as well? It's up to you. I have a great honor of talking about Howard Cass' continued service to our club. And so I'm going to read a bit about him, celebrating his 50-year club anniversary. Today we're honoring Mr. Howard Cass by helping him celebrate 50 years of membership in Club 31. He was accepted into Denver Rotary on June 18, 1965, 50 years ago today. Howard received his degree from Drake University, where he's been subsequently honored to be among their distinguished alumni. And he served 4 years in the United States Army in armored force as well as paratroopers before beginning his professional career with the CPA firm of Haskins & Sells in Chicago in December of 1946. He moved to the Denver office in 1947. His Rotary service has been extraordinary. And from reading this, I think you'll all be just as impressed as I was. Howard served as club director and first vice president, but most notably as Denver Rotary's 64th club president in 1973-74, and then as our Rotary district governor in 76-77. And he achieved this all within his first 12 years as a Rotarian. While Howard was district governor, his son Peter joined the Foothills Club in Fort Collins as he remained a member of that club all these years. Howard is also a Denver Rotary Club Foundation Gold Fellow, and he and his wife Rose are major donors of the Rotary Foundation. Howard's business career with Haskins & Sells, which we know as Deloitte today, went from staff accountant up the ranks to managing partner of the Denver office to partner in charge of the Western United States, and ultimately to vice president and partner in charge of the entire country. Despite moving to New York, Howard continued his committed membership in Denver Rotary. As a CPA, Howard had licenses in Colorado, Louisiana, California, New York, Utah, and North Carolina. Did I get them all? That must be some kind of record. Howard lived our motto of service above self outside of Rotary as well. He served on the boards such as the Denver Chamber of Commerce, YMCA, Boy Scouts of America, Mile High United Way, and the Salvation Army. He also served as chair of Mile High United Way and the Salvation Army. While serving as chair of the United Way, Howard spearheaded a fundraising campaign which exceeded its goal of $6.1 million. That's $38 million in today's dollars. Howard was appointed by Mayor McNichols to the Winter Park Recreational Association Board. Under his leadership, the ski area more than doubled in size. He served within his profession by being appointed by Governor Love to serve on the Colorado State Board of Accountancy, and later being elected to serve on the board of the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy. He also served as chair of the Colorado Society of CPAs. When Howard retired from Deloitte in 1984 and returned to Denver from New York, he continued to put his energy to use. He served on the boards for Holly Sugar, Oppenheimer Funds, the holding company for Midland Western Federal Savings, and several other nonprofit boards. From 1984 to 87, Howard chaired the executive committee for the Billy Graham Rocky Mountain Crusade at Billy Graham's request. It was a 10-day crusade attended by 500,000 people at Mile High Stadium and had 50,000 volunteers, a paid staff of 35, and a budget of $1.85 million. That's over $4 million of today's dollars. He was so successful that with that crusade that Reverend Graham asked Howard to be on the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association Board of Directors. All of these amazing accomplishments, that which Howard is most proud was getting to know Rose Bosovich, whom he met dancing in Des Moines, Iowa, to say "I do" more than 70 years ago. Rose is here, along with two of their children, as they were introduced earlier, Peter from Fort Collins and David's wife Dolly from Colorado Springs. Thank you for being here today. Howard, we're very proud to have you as a fellow member of Club 31, and I'd like to honor you by presenting you with several gifts. First of all, a 50-year pin, a Rotary commemorative valet box, And let me read what's in the box. Honoring Howard C. Cast in recognition of devotion to Rotary and its principles as exemplified by 50 years of membership. The Rotary Club of Denver, 1965 to 2015. Now we also have a photo collage which is exactly what you see on the screen. Howard, would you like to say anything at this point in time? A couple of words?
I never thought I'd be up here doing this. Thank you very much. I always enjoyed Rotary and still support it very much, although my attendance record's not too good these days for other reasons. Rose and I really have thank you all very much and very much appreciate it.
Thank you, Howard. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Fellow Rotarians, please stand and honor our 50-year Rotarian. Wow, that's hard to imagine. But thank you so much. At this time, I would like to give us an opportunity to see where all of our work is going internationally. And so I'm going to invite to the stage our partner of Support One, Bill Korstead, who has been working on a World Community Service Global Grant in Burkina Faso. Bill, thanks for coming all this way to be with us today.
Thank you, President Jim. We are just in the process of completing our WASH project, Water Sanitation Hygiene Project in Burkina Faso, which we started in 2019. Okay, if I can get this thing to work here. Here we go. Whoops. Is that in focus? You can see Burkina Faso in the map of Africa is in the western part of Africa on the hump there. You can see, on the right-hand side is a little larger picture of it. It's a poor, a small, sub-Saharan African country with little mineral wealth, seasonal rainfalls where most of the people live on subsistence agriculture. The country has a lack of water and one second here. There we go. Has a lack of water and, as I mentioned, lack of mineral resources. It has a very high rate of waterborne diseases, resulting in high infant mortality and low life expectancy. It's a tough life in a tough neighborhood. Oops. Most of the sources of water, many of them are shallow hand-dug wells that are subject to collapse, to easy contamination, and become unproductive in the dry season. Sometimes women are required to carry water up to 5 miles from contaminated sources that you see in the upper left. Water sources are often shared by animals so that they can become easily contaminated. Most sources will disappear in the dry season. Our project that we're just finishing up now is to help the people in Burkina Faso gain ready access to clean drinking water, provide sanitation in the form of latrines for them, and also encourage proper hygiene practices. The people of Burkina, like everybody, wants their children to grow up to be healthy kids like these. We've done two other projects in Burkina. The first one, we built 6 deep borehole wells in southern Burkina on the border with Uganda. That was in 2009. In 2011, we built 24 latrines in various villages, including the 6 where we built the wells in 2009. But in 2014, we decided to take a more holistic approach. We decided to have a WASH project of water, sanitation, and hygiene. Together, the WASH, when done together, it exceeds the individual value of each one of those combined. So it's sort of, in M&A terms, accretive, or it's leveraged. This is the current project, and we're finishing it up. Let me show you exactly what we've done so far. We've done 4 deep bore wells, serve 4 villages and 4 schools. We've trained 18 well point committee members to manage the wells. They collect the money at the end of the year. They make sure that everything is done fairly. There isn't any problem within the village or the school on the well. We've trained 4 village well mechanics to repair the well when need be, and we've established a replacement fund contributed to by the villagers that will allow for replacement of the parts over time. There's the gusher coming in on the first one. On the sanitation component, we built 4 blocks of latrines. These are gender-specific latrines, so each latrine has one for boys and one for girls. And also in 2 of the schools, we have a latrine for the teachers. So we had a total of actually 10 latrines that were built. We trained 4 teachers on proper sanitation and hygiene techniques. We also trained 8 village hygienists, as we call them now, that continue to promote and look out for any unhygienic practices. And we've trained 2 animators in they're local village people that go around in the local language and do signage to keep people aware. Probably the biggest, most innovative thing is on our awareness program. What we did is we've held 24 of these hygiene awareness sessions. What it is a short skit that talks about the benefits of clean water and proper hygiene practices. It's given to the villages and to the schools. Our troop going around there is trained by the people from Cirque du Soleil through their foundation, One Drop Foundation. Okay, from the money standpoint, our club contributed $5,000. We got 10 other clubs and 5 districts to contribute. We have Rotarians from 4 countries involved. We have private donors, as well as the cooperating partnerships there, the Barca Foundation, One Drop Foundation, and USAID. We've served over 2,400 people directly, and probably another 2,400 people through that's troop that I showed you doing the awareness that keeps on performing. So of our $5,000 that you contributed, we were able to raise $100,000. So that's a 20-to-1 leverage. So please keep on giving. Oftentimes when you say we're working in Africa, they say, well, you know, it's just a lot of work and nothing ever seems to get done. But we've really noticed that our projects and other Rotarians' projects, as well as other organizations working in Burkina Faso have made a difference. Since 2008, the rate of population growth is starting to slow. The children per family is now 5.9 children per family, down from 6.7. in 2008. We have fewer deaths from children under age 5. Now it's down to 10 per thousand, 100 per thousand, 98 per thousand, from 131 per thousand. 20 years ago, it was 250 per thousand. 25% of the kids under 5 died. Life expectancy has gone up in this short period of time from 50 to 54 years from 48, and GDP has gone up, per person has gone up also. So conditions are improving. We need to keep up the work. Thank you for your contributions. It has made a difference, and please keep on giving. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Very timely.
Yes.
I'd love to see that impact, too. That's wonderful. Thank you, Bill. I love to see the impact, the direct impact of those dollars that all of us are raising for things such as this. I have, Sandy, if I could get you to come to the stage as well. At this point in time, I have the great honor of bringing up one of those subjects that none of us likes to hear, and that's the concept of a dues increase for our membership. As much as I tried to convince Andre to hold off on that recommendation for a couple of weeks so that he was the one who presented it instead of me, I decided that I needed to step forward and face this. So this is an issue that we've been dealing with for almost the entire term that I've been president. We actually put it off last year with the idea that we needed to structure ourselves in a new way and to really look at where we're headed with the value proposition of our club. That continues today and will continue into Andre's term. That concept is headed by a Futures Task Force chaired by Sean Gadsden and Francie Enhut. They're doing wonderful work, but we're not done yet. And in order for us to sustain ourselves, we needed to bring up this issue of a dues increase, a small dues increase for this year. Let me tell you a little bit about why we're recommending this at this time. Our membership has declined. Despite bringing in 23 new members, we are at a net decline of 19 this year. Our Futures Task Force is working on several different options of changing our meeting format to create a new creating a new definition of the value proposition so that all of us can attract new members. We realize that there's a lot of change that has to happen. Our financial deficit has been reducing our reserve, as you know from a previous presentation that we made several months ago. And Sandy, as treasurer, put together some projections on when we would run through that reserve, which would be within the next 2 to 3 years at current pace. However, we have been able to reduce some of our expenses this year. We are projecting a loss of about $7,800, which is about $6,000 better than our budget. And as promised, we've looked at all kinds of expenses. One of those, a very major breakthrough, is that we're going to move our Rotary offices to a less expensive option, which will save us significantly this next year. We are having no salary increases for our staff this coming year. Our President's Celebration, which is typically off-site, will be a part of one of our regular meetings. Our President-elect's trip to the international conference resulted in some savings as well. Andre was very good about contributing his own resources and for finding less expensive ways to travel. And in addition, this year, we negotiated for this past year to have no increase in our food costs from the DAC. But we continue to have challenges. Our 2015 and 2016 challenges include this concept of trying to figure out how do we begin to change this club in a very rapid fashion without disorienting or disengaging our members. We have some very creative ways to do that, and we're going to show you one of them on July 9th when we have an evening meeting with a speaker and networking, which we feel is one of those concepts that we need to experiment with, and we're going to get your feedback on that. The other side of this is, beginning this just next month, the DAC will be increasing our food costs by about $6.36 per quarter. Our proposal is to increase our dues by $10 a quarter, which is about 83 cents a meal. We think that most of us can handle that, but we also recognize that that is a deterrent for potentially if we continue to have those dues increases. So this is a way for us to keep ourselves in the black, and our budget for this next year will be barely in the black without the moving costs that will probably come out of our our reserves to make that new move to a new location. So with that, I'm going to ask Sandy to make this proposal, and then we'll have a little discussion, give you the opportunity to have questions answered about that. Sandy?
Thank you, President Jim. Membership, at this point, I'd like to make a motion that dues be increased $10 per quarter beginning in Rotary year 2015-16.
We have a second from Andre. I wanted to clarify also that this is just for active exempt and our emerging professional group as well. This was voted on by our board this week, and so we're now presenting it to the membership. I'd like to ask if there's any discussion or questions. Appearing none, we'll have a vote. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Oh, wait, we do have a question, sorry. Active ordinary. Did I say active exempt? And active exempt, thank you. And the emerging professional cohort. Thank you for that clarification. I'll now ask for the vote again. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I appreciate your understanding, and please know that we continue to look at ways to really look at our value proposition to members and to help all of us to bring in new members to this club. This is really a top-line issue. We're not going to be able to cut our expenses to success. So you'll be hearing more about that. Andre, for sure, will be looking at membership as his top priority this next year. Now I'd like to change subjects to something that I think is wonderful. And that is that we are going to be in the presence of somebody who's going to be honored by the University of Denver. And my guest, Ann Irving, is here as the development director for the Korbel School of International Studies. And they each year honor one of their, not necessarily an alum, but a recipient this year will be Grant Wilkins of the University of Denver's International Humanitarian Award. Grant is back in his seat. We're very pleased that this is going to be happening, and we'd like to get the support of our club to rally around him at this dinner that's coming up on September 8th, 2015. Jim McGibney is going to be heading up the effort to try to fill a couple of tables at this event, and I want to just mention a couple of things about it. The University of Denver Joseph Korbel Humanitarian Award recognizes an individual or couple for distinction in giving concrete expression to the values underlying the Universal Declaration of Human Rights through generous philanthropic work within the Denver community, and I think Grant represents that very, very well. Just to give you some background, DU is ranked by the Institute of International Education #1 of U.S. institutions in the percentage of university undergraduate students who participate in study abroad programs. I think that ties so well with the goals of Rotary. The school was named after Joseph Korbel, a Czech diplomat, the first dean of the school and the father of Madeleine Albright. I was not aware of that particular issue. And notable alums include Condoleezza Rice, 66th U.S. Secretary of State, and Mohammad Javad Zarif, Iranian foreign minister currently negotiating with Secretary of State Kerry. And all of these, both of them were students of another member of ours, Vednanda. So this is a wonderful honor. Grant, congratulations. We really look forward to helping you being honored that night. And please see Jim McGibney if you are interested in attending that event. Now it's my honor to introduce and welcome to the stage Larry Bonning, retired county judge, and Hank Strauss of our program committee to introduce our guest today. I think you'll really enjoy this presentation, and it has to do with health, which I'm very supportive. So, Larry?
Yes, it's my pleasure today to help introduce our guest speaker, and she was suggested as a guest speaker by our longtime Rotarian and friend of mine, Hank Strauss, who's with me at the podium. He asked me to help introduce our guest speaker. Our guest speaker, Dr. Daisy Dong, will be talking about acupuncture, giving a little of its history and its applications. A few weeks ago when I mentioned to Judge Bob Kapelke, a member of Denver Rotary, that there was going to be a talk today about acupuncture, Bob Kapelke said, well, I am really excited to hear about a talk on acupuncture. In fact, I'm so excited I'm on pins and needles. Blamed Judge Kapelke. So seriously, Dr. Daisy Dong, a native of China, has a medical degree from the College of Traditional Chinese Medicine in Beijing, and she completed a fellowship in acupuncture at the Dongzheim Hospital. She came to the U.S. to attend graduate school at Ohio University, where she completed a master's degree and an internship in Atlanta, Georgia. She eventually earned 3 master's degrees in the U.S., including in health administration, a master's degree in Oriental medicine, and a master's degree in international health. In 2005, Dr. Dong was the first clinician hired at the University of Colorado Hospital in its integrative medicine program, where she is the senior member of the acupuncture group. She is also professor at the Southwest College of Acupuncture, where she teaches clinical herbal pharmacology and integrative traumatology. She has a special interest in expertise in acute and chronic pain management, including joint pain, post-operational pain, migraine, and post-stroke rehabilitation. She has a special interest in cancer support care for side effects of chemotherapy and radiation. Henry, do you have any comments you'd like to add about Dr. Daisy Dong?
Daisy is quite erudite. You can trust her.
Okay, well, need you hear about anything more? I'm sure you'd rather hear from Dr. Daisy Dong rather than Henry and myself. Dr. Dong loves to travel, and for several years she loved to swing dance and do Argentine tango. Without further ado, please help welcome Dr. Daisy Dong.
Thank you. Could you hear me? Could you hear me? Thank you very much for inviting me. It's my honor to be here. Thank you for Rotary Club contribution to the public service. I'm very moved, It's my honor, so I mainly want to talk about acupuncture. Time is limited. Let's start. So,
You can point it at the slide screen.
okay. All right. So we have objective learning today because I always teaching. So I've been, do the clinical, have been practice, acupuncture, Chinese herbal medicine, and the general medicine, and teaching, and do a little bit of research for last 30 years. Started very early, probably when I were diapers. So, okay, the objective is we want to know what is acupuncture, where it come from. Then we want to know what kind of condition acupuncture can treat, and also how much we know about acupuncture in modern, research. And also we want to know, does acupuncture have side effects, right? So where are we going to find qualified, practitioners, and also, things like does my insurance cover it? So this is a very, very common concern that, we enter every day in a clinic. All right. So acupuncture basically is non-drug therapy. It's use a very thin metal needle, which is technology is so advanced, so the needle basically unbreakable. Then they coat it with a special coating, so the needle will slide into the tissue without pain. So most of the time, you don't feel the needle go in. So, when they choose the points, which is a Chinese medicine belief, those areas accumulated a lot of energy in there. So regulated energy not locally when the needle go into the area, but also distally. Okay, so in most cases, after needle in the place, either in the tissue or touch the nerves, it depends on what the purpose we try to treat. We use the hand to twist it to achieve the result. This time, you will, as a patient, will feel something like a little ache, little muscle spasm, hit on the nerve. So those kind of sensation we call the needling sensation. We actually expect that, but we're not doing for every point, we're doing for key points. So you got to feel it, then the signal will impulse to the brain. So that's the idea. If research also said, if you hook up a machine, it's a 9 voltage machine, so cause pulsing in the needle, so actually have a better result. So that's, in last 50 years or 60 years, the Chinese invented a machine to do that job. Now the research said it is really better than the, manual. But each person reacted to acupuncture differently. So some people like, I don't like that. So we use manually. If someone very, fragile, we don't use machine either. So it's a, depends on, how we interpret the conditions. So we add the machine on. Okay, Chinese medicine is actually has this 4, components. Acupuncture is one of it. Herbal medicine in the Asian country actually is the big sell. It's the money maker, just like the pharmaceutical in the Western world. So I sell the drugs, So that's the number one. Acupuncture is actually only take 25%, the medical practice and the revenues. But in the Western countries, so it's easy to learn, easy to operate, easy to, study too. So that's become so popular. In 1971, so there's a big, reporter, James Recton, I think that's his name. He happened to have acute appendicitis that ended up in Beijing when he visited there before the President Nixon's first visit. So then they did a regular operation, removed, swollen appendix. Then after operation, then he complained, as everybody do, have an abnormal, operation, distension or constipation. Then he quickly discovered, other, patient, all had acupuncture. So he curious, he said, can I have it? So this abdominal distension really bugging me. So he wrote an article published in New York Times in 1971. I think it is July 26th issue. So talk about his experience. He said it is really working. So release his symptom. So that's the official introduction of acupuncture in United States. So Chinese medicine also has a quite influence for massage world. A lot of massage actually borrowed, even chiropractic, borrowed the concept of a Chinese massage called Tuina in here. Some people this year start to practice meditation, breathing exercise, Chinese breathing exercise meditation called Qigong. It's also a part of martial arts. So basically, Chinese medicine is an independent medical system. What I mean, so number one is credentialed by the World Health Organization. There's only two medicine, traditional medicine can be independent, except biomedicine. Number one is Chinese medicine. Number two is Indian Ayurveda. Why? Because they have all the medicine required to have their theory of etiology, pathology, diagnosis, treatment, prevention, in addition to pharmacology, not only pharmacology application, but also toxicity study, to support it. So because Chinese medicine, born in China, so their logic, sense sensibility, and they're, definitely embedded in their culture. So it's totally different, from Western world. So the concept of health and the diseases are totally different. So you said that's odd. The doctor said, Dr. Dong said, I have a kidney qi deficiency, but my kidney is fine. We probably talk about function. The lab hasn't showed up yet, so we'll can already able to, to tell the earth something, going on. So for that. Okay, originally there's no metal needles. In the Stone Age, there's plenty stone, right? So they sharp it. Basically, it's not a puncture. It's a bleeding and acupressure. Then later on, they start to use animal bones. Shaped as thinner to poke on the point. So why does the Chinese medicine, particular acupuncture, get so popular? Because the clinical evidence shows that acupuncture do have a very unique, special value in therapeutic, which this value is not as same as, conventional medicine. So their uniqueness, it have first of all, has a very wide, application, can basically treat almost everything. So, so how good is not an issue. Another thing is, so they're very good for the, biomedicine labeled mechanism or etiology unknown. So that's the time you want to see me for, right? Okay, and also very good to manage the chronic diseases like diabetes. Actually, recent publication said that Chinese herbal medicine actually very good to low blood sugar. Then the acupuncture very good to manage pain, chronic or acute. So some people do the survey. They want to see, primary care setting, how many people use acupuncture. Actually, a lot. So you can see 28 to 47% of people go into primary care actually already use acupuncture. 21% of people actually use the same reason they go to see their primary care doctors, such as, allergy, such as hypertension, such as pain. That's a very common thing. Low back and neck pain, that's the most, condition come to see us. So, in HIV patient, more and more, come to see us too. All right, so this is a list. So you can see the pain is dominated conditions. Recent years, people found cancer actually, conditions actually can be used, can ask help for acupuncture. So what do? We're not really treating cancer per se. Actually, we give a support treatment. So chemotherapy, radiation therapy, or post-surgical. So they all has problems, So then those the people coming in to see us the most. So we support the immune system. We treat their GI upset. We treat the drug, a toxicity. So that's what we are good for. So, I was invited for a talk in LA next year, just talk about how to use acupuncture treated, among the colleagues. So only, for the acupuncture. Then other conditions, we have anxiety, depression. Believe or not, a lot of psychologists, psychiatrists come to see us because they don't want to take drugs. So that's the reason. Recent years, a lot of research actually found a help the infertility, for people who really want to try but haven't been successful. If you ask for half of those people has no organic problems, then they even could not find any lab has anything wrong with them. That's a particular, frequently I see in the Western country. There's nothing wrong, but they just tried again, 3-4 years, could not pregnant. So then we have a lot of success by research, by clinical evidence for that. And also during the pregnancy, we all know the morning sickness, those kind of things, and gestation hypertension, those kind of things is also we can help. Then the induced labor, more and more people start to turn on us and said, could you do something to make me labor easier? So I said, sure, we can do it. Just don't wait until last minute. We do need 2-3 sessions, for that. Then baby will drop, then the muscles in the bottom will relax. Then some people said, I never use a drop of the drug, during my first ever labor. So that's how good, can do. The age group. So of course, educated women, in particular, and the middle, age to seniors more and more come to our, clinic looking for, alternative medicine. I have to point out the younger group, because their parents are so educated, so the younger group start to, come to see me from 6 months old to 17, 19. So they actually doing pretty good. We're not necessarily using needles. We can do acupressure, we can do a little tuina. So, when we use a needle, we use a different way than, we use for adults. So it's different. Then WHO, so actually in 2003 already published based on the research published, so acupuncture can good for the 44 conditions and the symptoms. Sorry about that, misspell. So the 4 categories basically list here. On your table, there's some red sheet. So I only list the first 2 categories. So based on the clinical trial, so you can read it or take home. So for that, let's look at the first category, which is well research based on control trials. Then, so what they can do? So you can see it's quite range, right? A variety of medical conditions or symptoms for that. Chemo radiation adverse effect is on the top. So that's, how good. Basically in China, I follow the, oncology trained by, Western medicine and has a special training for the herbal medicine. He said we use all the time, in chemo, off chemo, so we use herbal medicine and acupuncture all the time because there is no conflict, at all. So you can see there's a lot of conditions. Then we look at the next slide, pain. It's a variety of pain. So this is based on the research. So, some conditions never researched, so it just, a lot we can help with. Let's look at this video.
We'd be crazy to write off ancient wisdoms. We ought to question them well, but we can't write them off. Especially when it appears to be able to do something astonishing. In the city's most advanced hospital, 21-year-old factory worker Chun Gunlian has a hole in the heart and her health is deteriorating. She's about to have open heart surgery. Even with the best medical equipment, it's a risky operation. Her chest will be cut open and her heart stopped. But Gunlian will go through all of this without a general anesthetic. Instead, she's chosen acupuncture. Although sedated by drugs and her chest numbed, she'll be conscious throughout the whole procedure. The doctors stimulate the needles using an electrical current. the surgeon begins, the success of the operation depends not just on his skill, but on the power of acupuncture.
Acupuncture is an effective painkiller. It's also less damaging to the body than a general anaesthetic.
It seems incredible, but Gunlian's doctors have done more than 300 similar operations. Gunlian's operation is entering the most dramatic phase. They check she's okay as they prepare to stop her heart to repair the hole. It seems amazing to me that acupuncture is even considered for such a life-threatening operation. But after 2 hours of intricate surgery, everything appears to have gone well. Remarkably, just 2 days after the operation, Gunlian is sitting up in bed, telling her sister the story. Her memories are still vivid.
I remember the doctor stuck a needle into my hand and felt my pulse. Then he put another needle in here and here near my vein. Then my whole body started to tremble. When the scalpel started to cut the bone, I could hear it all. But I didn't feel any pain, not a thing.
The speed of Gunlian's recovery is impressive. Just a week after the operation, she's ready to check out. And there's one other benefit to the acupuncture. The bill is 1/3 of the cost of an operation with general anaesthetic.
Okay.
Robert knows about the smoothness of
So the time is limited, so we're gonna run very quick. Then we'll answer the question. So I want you look at it. So acupuncture based on the meridian theory. So basically, it's like a globe, has a latitude line, but inside there's a 6 meridian, doesn't have a point, so they connect inside. So that's the energy can circulate. So I emphasize on interaction and this is a meridian series research they found. Actually, they think it's just very similar to the biomedicine neurovascular system. So because they connected as a distals internally, externally, it's just like that. So they use math calculated in that way. So basically, it's just what they said. You can see the nerves on the one side, then the meridian on the other side has a stunning correlations or similarities for that. So then basically the research think, so that's the rational base of acupuncture. They keep saying need evidence, so basically this is the most evidence. So acupuncture stimulated the skin and the muscle, basically a lot of sensory nerves in there. Those sensory nerves travel with the, called the dendrite, which is the neural cells, then go to the brain and stimulate the 3, important system in the body through called the HPA axis. So then they boom cause the immune system acting up, endocrine system acting up, and also neural system acting up. Then as a result, they can treat a very broad problem because anti-inflammatory, pain relief, analgesic, and also neurotransmitter make it relax, So that's basically that's acupuncture, can do. So it's a global effect plus specific effect. That's every, this is a biopsy support, so the needles basically in this kind of environment reach muscle and reach vessels, in this kind of it's a mechanical stimulation causes a chemical reaction, so to the brain, so the brain will like assess it. Should we inhibit it? Inflammation like a prostaglandin. Should we, stimulate a GABA receptor? Should we relieve, beta endorphin for the pain management? The brain just so smart. So that's they figure out. Then, you will see outside the reaction is like that. So acupuncture basically is restored normal function. So then the researcher also said, so it compete with, the pain signals in the brain. Then which is in the pain areas, like anterior and singular. So those kind of area is a receptor of the pain. So acupuncture go in there, take their place. Then the brain or the body just like, where is the pain? There is no pain, and you don't feel the pain. So basically that's the idea. Okay, I'm gonna open for the up for the questions.
Craig, go ahead.
Dr. Dong, thanks for being here. I'm not so sure I'd want to be awake when somebody was doing open heart surgery on me. I heard it said earlier, and you had it in the presentation, that the concept of Chinese medicine, in China, you pay the doctor to keep you well. Here in the United States, you pay the doctor to make you better. Can you talk about that?
Yes, the concept's so different, so as I said, it's a grow in the cultural. So they basically a lot of people know what to cook, based on the season, so they won't get sick. Then even when they get they have a question, they make appointment, the appointment basically covered by all the insurance. Then they said, oh, it's just, I think I have asthma, fall season usually causes a problem. What should I do? So that's, they ask, then they say, oh, you may want to do this, you may want to do that. They say, sure. So they may give us some herbal medicine, get an acupuncture treatment, or they may give a prescription, say that, if you have a symptom now, so you can do that. That's very common.
I have really a comment more than a question. Personal experience. I completed 2 episodes of periodontal surgery on a patient in 1995 who was allergic to any anesthetic and all pain medication. She had acupuncture for the surgery and had no pain post-operatively.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's quite safe. You can see this slides, so the incidence rates compared to the biomedicine actually this team, Yes, okay. So most people feel, very relaxed. Insurance is a bummer. So Anthem and the United States Healthcare is only I know cover it. Other insurance cover a little bit too. But, so it always asks you insurance, do I have acupuncture coverage? Even you are with Anthem or United Healthcare, it's not for everybody, so.
Jim, why don't you get the microphone there first? We can't hear you.
I see him over there now. However,
sorry, we can't hear you. Can't hear you, Jim.
I would have a question about how you treat biliary colic. I would like to know how you treat hypertension of the primary variety.
Okay, hypertension actually come to see us, as not often as, but actually it's a very strong suit for us. Acupuncture can do it, particularly when your blood pressure, really raising up. So it literally can, reduce 20 to 10, 10 to 20, milli. Mercury immediately. Then usually we use herbal medicine to maintain it. It's never conflict with your prescription drugs. Yeah, actually it's same goal of that, just use a different route, for that. Then herbal medicine usually is a combo, more than 5 ingredients in there. So it's the interact and also counter the side effect. So basically, you just have to spend money out of pocket for it.
I would also have some questions about neurological things. I happen to have a background in significant neurology. A full course, as a matter of fact. And I would be very interested in how you treat that. Now, I'm acquainted with hypnosis. As a matter of fact, I have hypnotized patients that refuse to have otherwise treatments. But I do understand that, so I'm not going to pursue that. But the hypotension that bothers me, also the stroke treatment by acupuncture.
Post-stroke in China by neurologists, they all know that's the first line of treatment. So after acute stage, so they immediately sent to acupuncture department. Then in addition to physical therapy, because the result is just a phenomena, so.
I think we've run out of time, but I wanted to thank Dr. Dong for a wonderful presentation. One of the things that I found very interesting about this is that when I first started learning about acupuncture years ago, I was under the impression that it was very much tied with a concept called energy flowing through your body called qi. And it seems as though that now we've got this explanation of the neurology behind it, which is, I think, starts to explain it in Western terms. Would that be accurate? Okay. Well, please join me in thanking Dr. Dong.